All right, everyone. So welcome to our Monday Night Live. What I wanted to do tonight was just focus on some of the foundations for success. I'm going to start by telling you my story. Some of you might know a little bit about my journey through Forever, but you'll probably more than likely know my 5-minute story that I tell at business presentations or I tell online. What I wanted to do was actually tell my real story because, of course, any business is not all pretty and flowers and rainbows and suddenly you're a success having not done much. So I'm going to tell you a lot about some of the difficulties that I've had through my business as well, because I think it's really important to know as we are growing and as we have new people starting, and I can guarantee you're all going to go through a point in your business where you struggle. Any business in the world does the same thing. So I thought I would give you my real life experience of if I could just ask you all to mute yourselves, guys. There's a little bit of background noise and I can't seem to find the option to mute you all myself. Oh, there we go. I found the option. Okay, so my story is I started my journey almost 5 years ago. In fact, the end of this month will be 5 years ago. I can't believe it. I don't know where time has gone. When I started, I was a stay-at-home mom. Izzy and Holly were 5 months and 2 years at the time. And I wasn't really looking for anything. I didn't realize that I needed something in my life. I knew that I was bored of not making my own money. And then I knew that I'd lost a lot of independence, but I wasn't someone who was actively looking to go out and get work at the time. I was pretty much dragged to a party. So for those of you who are nervous about doing parties because of the types of people who could be there, I'm one of those people. I didn't want to go. I didn't know about the company. I'd heard about some kind of cleanse. I wasn't a believer in cleanses. And I remember leaving my house saying, I'm not buying anything. It's ridiculous. But I went that night and something just suddenly started asking. So I was listening to this lady present the products and I wasn't even interested in the products. I was like, right, how much money does she make? How does she do this? So that all of those questions were going on in the back of my head. And so anyway, they sent me the business presentation and I was a quick start. I'm like, this is for me. So I was one of those. And at the time, we didn't have a lot of support from our UK team in Dubai. Dubai was still a very new part or leg, let's say. When I got started, the lady who recruited me wasn't intending on business building. She was here to retail. The lady who sponsored her was very similar. However, she had just started to build a business. And basically, sort of 3 generations up, we're still quite new to the business. And I was a bit of a racehorse when I started. I was told that I needed to have a party. I was told that I needed to get baskets out. I was told that I needed to retail. And I literally did that. I'm like, right, this is what I need to do. I know I need to work. I had a lot to prove to my husband at the time. And because I wanted to prove him wrong. And so I'm just muting everyone again. So I worked, and I've never worked so hard for anything in my life. And I put my head down and I just kept going. And I retailed a lot. I didn't know what I was doing, guys. I'm going to be totally honest. I ended up doing the C9, had great results. So, that was a huge, huge thing for me then. I was retailing personally 25 case credits every single month for the first 3 months of my business. And because that's what I was doing, I recruited my younger sister at the time and I showed her what I was doing, which was retail 25 case credits. So she was retailing about 15 to 20 every single month. She recruited my other sister who then did the same thing. So if you can imagine, because we were all retailing really high case credits, I actually got to manager very quickly. I did manager in 12 weeks. So the first month I became supervisor. My second month I was assistant manager. And by the end of my third month, I was manager. And I still didn't really know what I was doing. retailing that amount of case credits is exhausting. Can you actually imagine having that many people that you are, and at the time, my goodness, our only product place was in Dera. So I would have to drive out to Dera every single time. At that point in my business, I was gung-ho. I would drive out there every single day if I needed to. So I'd have to drive out there, collect everything, go and deliver everything. It was exhausting, but I was still new and I was excited. I'm like, this is amazing. And I did a lot for my team as well. So I'm like, right, you've got retail. I'm going to go. I'm going to do this for you. I'm going to help you. I'm going to retail for you. So I kind of just was a bull in a china shop. And so it was great. I got to manager in 12 weeks, which is pretty phenomenal. And I'm really glad I did it that way, because I can now coach people to not do it that way, for many reasons. Because by the time I got to manager, I was so tired. I could not maintain that level of retail anymore. I had been doing so much for my downline myself that when they got to manager, they were exactly the same. They're like, well, where's our manager income? We don't have that. We were retailing so much that's how we kind of got there. So it was almost like I got to manager and I had no business. I went from my case credits at a manager level, which at that time we didn't have a choice. So it was, oh my goodness, I can't even remember what it was. What's the old one? 150 or something like that. 120. And 120 case credits over 2 months. I was pushing for the case credits. I got there and then I felt like my business had failed and I genuinely wanted to stop. I was like, this doesn't work. Some other things that I would like to explain to you as well is the 3 generations of upline above me. At one point in my business as well, in fact, the month I was going manager, they asked me to stop because they wanted to recognize the ones above me before me. And I don't know if you guys know much about how it works if you've got someone who's going for manager. Is if you've got one person in your downline going for manager, yes, of course, you're going to reach manager as well because you're going to have the case credits. But forever recognize that you haven't done any work. It's the person who's doing all the work that's getting to manager. So you now have to do 25 case credits outside of that leg in order to become a recognized manager. That's one of the things I love about this business. You can't, it's not a scheme where you can just recruit people and get them to do it for you. You have to do the work yourself. And so they asked me to slow down so that they could get the case credits. Now I just want you guys to stop for a second and think about your businesses and how you would feel if the person who sponsored you asked you to stop because you were building too quickly for them. So it was one of the hardest things. This is 3 months into my business where I was just like, but I'm working so hard. I deserve this. And they're asking me to stop and hold back. And by the way, this is not to tell you that they were also new to this. Like network marketing was new. So we've all learned lessons along the way. But I'm just trying to tell you, I suppose, a little bit about the reality of my business and how I've got here and that it hasn't always been easy. So I got to manager that way. I wanted to quit my business because I didn't think it was working for me. And I literally had to start all over again. And there were three things I was incredibly lucky that happened. One is the UK team recognized that stuff was going on in Dubai. So they came out here and ran a whole training session for us. And it was the first time I realized the importance of keeping things simple and duplicating and not being the person who tries to do everything, but having a lot of people doing a little bit and helping other people do the little bit rather than me saying, oh, I'll do it for you. So that was one amazing thing that happened. Another great thing that happened is luckily just before I got to manager, I recruited Michelle Felton. And we all know how incredible she is. So she's been a huge part of my success because she's been with me pretty much from what I believe is the beginning of my actual journey in Forever. And the third thing that happened is I read a book. And I'm sure you guys will know this is my absolute favorite book because this book saved me. At that point when I wanted to quit and I read this, I couldn't put it down. And the second I did, I changed my entire way that I built my business and I thought about my business. And I genuinely believe this is what's got me to where I am today. So as I talk you through tonight's session, I'm sure I'm going to give you loads of examples of my business as well. But I wanted to say to you guys, if you are facing difficulties or feeling at the moment like this is not working for you, network marketing is not for you, or you're lost in a bit of fog. In fact, I'm going to go into my next slide now. It happens to absolutely everyone. If it hasn't happened to you yet, it probably will. There's 99% chance it will happen. What happens is when we see the business presentation and we're wowed, like it looks bright and attractive. It's like, oh my goodness, I can make this much money. I can work from home. This is crazy. Look at those chairman's bonus checks. And you get all excited. And then you get to work and you get started and you kind of get enveloped in this fog because, well, hang on, she's recruited so many people already, but we started at the same time. I haven't recruited anyone. So, oh, but she's got baskets going out. I can't seem to get any of my trial baskets going on. She did a post on that social media post. Thousands of people have answered her. I did one. I got nothing. I got no likes. I got no response. And suddenly, like all these things, and all you're seeing is what the success from other people, which motivates you, but also frustrates you. And you're just looking at yourself and you're thinking, well, what am I doing wrong? I can't seem to see the other end. I can't seem to remember why I wanted to start this business. And you're enveloped in this fog, and it's so hard to just see the end of it, or when that fog will finally lift. But the great news is if you follow certain principles, the fog does lift, guys, and sometimes it'll come back down a little bit again. But when you learn to just stick to the basics, stick to the principles, those foundations for success, you don't get enveloped as much as you do maybe that first time round. So tonight, what we're going to focus on is, in fact, that the foundations of success, the key things that you need to focus on. And those are consistent effort, duplication, and give it enough time. So what we're going to do is we're just going to have a quick look at consistent effort first. And have a look at the slide. And so I love the first one on the top left there. It says, discipline is doing what you know needs to be done, even when you don't want to do it. And this has rung true for me so much through the beginning of COVID. When life got absolutely chaotic, and you will, like every single person, every single manager, everyone who's even doing well at the moment, when COVID first hit, this, I bet you anybody had to re-talk to themselves about, because suddenly you have to homeschool. Suddenly maybe your husband has lost a job. Suddenly you are homeschooling and you've got a job, and now you're trying to work your business. Whatever it might be, there will have been days when you just want to say, I need a break. I don't want to do this anymore. But the discipline comes from when you actually say to yourself, I'm sorry, Claire, I have a business. I need to spend at least 30 minutes, whatever it is that you do, to do it, even when you don't want to do it. You have to be willing to give consistent chunks of time to get that serious growth out of your business. So it might not be that you're working 8 hours a day. It might be that you've got 1 hour a day that you can focus, but you've just got to be able to do that consistently. The other one says you can build your business full-time or part-time, but not spare time. And it is so true. I've made a lot of notes here. So if you see me looking down, it's just to make sure I'm not missing anything. Network marketing is a business of inconvenience. When you first speak to people about an opportunity, or even for yourselves, we're not sitting in our day with gaps thinking of, oh, what can I do to fill my time? Because usually we always don't have time. Now, I mean, our time might be that we're watching half an hour of Friends in an evening, or that we're busy cooking, or that, well, we've got to drive our daughters here and there. But nobody's just kind of hanging around in a day thinking, I need to build a business. Nobody does that. So nobody actually ever has spare time. You have to be able to create your own time. The other thing here is being able to build your business in the nooks and crannies of time that you have. One of the things I love about this is if you are building your business in those nooks and crannies, it might be that in 10 minutes time that you have is like, great, I've got 10 minutes. That means I can call 1 or 2 people. When you make that call to that person and they're busy and you actually say to them, listen, Yvonne, I've literally got 5 minutes. I just wanted to talk to you about something. Do you have 5 minutes to chat before I need to get back to whatever it is that I'm doing? And then you pitch them about the business. They're not going to suddenly ask you loads of questions because they know you've only got 5 minutes. So actually being able to build your business in nooks and crannies, and people know that, if you sound like you are extremely busy and you don't have loads of time to spare, they're not going to suddenly sit and ask you loads of questions. Or if they do start asking you questions, you know what? That is an incredible question. I'm so glad you're asking it. I don't have time now because you'd mentioned that before. How about we set up a time to speak later? So to be able to build your business in nooks and crannies, I think, in fact, my business grew quickest when my kids were younger and I could only build it when they were sleeping. It's amazing. When you only have a limited time to spend in your business, you work it so much better than if you've got loads of time in your business. So what you need to try and figure out is, when are your nooks and crannies? How long are they? What are they? What are you currently doing that might momentarily be pleasant, but ultimately it's unproductive? So for most people, that comes to the TV. You know, if it's like, oh my goodness, I'm so tired, I've had such a long day, 20 minutes of TV. You need to be asking yourself, well, that's great. I'm really going to enjoy watching the TV for the next 20 minutes. I haven't done my forever business. So what's going to be the most productive to help me grow my business to where I need it to be? And then my absolute favorite, in fact, I'm going to get to the horses later, is that consistent effort. If you look at someone who builds a house, they're not just going to throw a whole bunch of bricks at a site and then the house is built. It takes a long time to build a house that is stable and safe and won't fall down, like Three Little Pigs. And that is brick by brick and layer by layer. So it's consistently putting down the brick, putting down the cement, the brick, and again, slowly brick by layer. And that's exactly the same thing as building a business. We cannot rush it. We cannot miss a layer. We cannot throw all of our effort on it like I did in the beginning and expect to have a stable business at the end. And then my absolute favorite is the pack horse and the racehorse. I was definitely the racehorse in the beginning of my business, and they are beautiful. Racehorses are great. You know, they look amazing. They are exciting. Oh my goodness, when you recruit a racehorse, they are on training all the time. They are doing everything. They're going. The one thing that a racehorse doesn't have is stamina. They don't have enough stamina for anything but a sprint. So once that sprint is finished, they're done. The people we want to recruit, guys, are not those beautiful racehorses that excite us so much because they're like, yes, I'm going to do this. Great. Because what's the bet that in a month or 2 months' time, you won't hear from them again, is because they've run out of stamina. We need to be pack horses. We want to recruit pack horses. This is a long journey. So we want somebody who's in it for the long haul. We need to know that we are in it for a long haul and that we're not going to suddenly start our business and expect to be manager in 12 weeks with a stable business. That's not how this business works. So you need to settle yourselves in, become that pack horse rather than the racehorse, and just remember to do a little bit every single day and your business will grow. Okay, so now we're going to move on to duplication. Now, can you guys imagine sponsoring one person, training that person to do exactly the same thing, and by the end of 12 months, you would have over 4,000 people in your team? It's pretty crazy when you look at it like that. And this is what I didn't do in the beginning of my business, is I did everything for everybody. I've learned loads in leadership through this. One, I might not have trusted people to do it. Like, there are some people who you just feel like you need to do everything. I think one of my biggest and best lessons I've learned is that there are so many people who are better at things than I am. In fact, most of you are better than a whole lot of stuff than I am. And it's helping those people shine through and finding out what they can do and helping them do that, rather than you being the one who does everything. And I love the saying, I would rather have 1% of 100 people's effort than 100% of my own. And if you just look at what can happen in duplication, I mean, in 12 months' time, having over 4,000 people in their team, wow. I'm not saying it happens like that, guys, because obviously that would be that every single person duplicates exactly what you're doing. But I just wanted to show you the power of duplication, and rather showing a lot of people how to do a little bit than you trying to do a whole bunch in the beginning. So there's a really, really great way to get to duplication, to get to wealth. Again, in this business, most of us start it because we want to make that income. We want to have that flexibility, and money gives us time and freedom and flexibility. But before you get to the wealth, there's a whole bunch of other things that we need to look at. And the first thing is to keep it simple. It's the cornerstone. It's the very starting point of our business. Don't think that because we don't do things on fancy Excel spreadsheets, or we don't wrap our boxes in beautiful colored. I mean, I've seen some incredible, like Emily Crew buys some gorgeous stuff for her little girl, and it comes wrapped in these boxes. I'm like, oh my goodness, maybe I need to be doing that for my clients. I don't. This business works based on just the products arriving in a box. So, you know, we don't need to try and change things. Yes, you guys might be great at that. I'm not good at that at all. So why would I try and spend my time trying to change something that I don't need? The simple system works. So we just need to keep it simple, keep it fun. We don't need Excel spreadsheets. We might look at this business and think, but there's nothing pretty about this. Why can't we do that little bit extra? What can we do? Absolutely, you might be able to do that, but the person who you're going to show might not be able to do that. They might be computer illiterate and not be able to do things. So we don't want to miss the genius of simplicity. So the first thing is keeping it simple. The second thing is just having a system. A system is what gives direction and support. It helps to focus. It gives you the tracks to run on. So what is our system? Our system is Dream Team, guys. We just plug you in. It's our training. It's our training that we have. It's the units. You've got access to all the units. You've got access to the websites and the tools. You've got access to absolutely everything that every single successful person in Dream Team has access to as well. We do training every single Monday night. We do business presentations. We've got the Say Yes group. We do power hours. If you aren't using the system, you're not going to be able to plug your team into the system, because this is a monkey see, monkey do business. So you need to stick to a system in your business, because that is what's duplicatable. Because then duplication and depth come from creating that simple system in your business, which other people can follow. So again, you don't want to go and create a whole pretty other system that you're going to spend loads and loads of hours on. Again, another mistake I made, because I was like, right, we need something better. We don't have anything in Dubai. We need to create something better. I need to redo all the training. It took me hours of work. I didn't need to do that. We have everything set up for us. So we've got the simplicity, we've got the system, and that's where duplication comes from. So our systems are BPs, power hours, training. In fact, I've even told myself to read page 14 from this. So let's go and have a quick look what it says. Here we go. So without a system to follow, many people in network marketing are like a powerful locomotive engine that has no tracks to run on. This was me in the beginning. They get bogged down. They go nowhere. They begin with wonderful motivation and vision. But because they lack a systematic method of growing a team and creating revenue, they become discouraged and watch their energy, enthusiasm, and hope begin to dissipate. These people often assume that something is lacking in them, and that prevents success. In reality, the only thing they are missing is a systematic method of growing their business. So for those of you, and I want you guys to be honest with yourselves tonight, for those of you who are currently feeling like your business isn't working, like you're not getting the duplication, that perhaps network marketing is for you, the first thing I want you to ask yourselves is, are you plugged into the system? Are you watching the BPs? Are you active on the Say Yes group? Are you listening to Monday night training? Do you access the notes? Are you doing everything that you've been taught to do so that you can teach other people to do the same? If your answer is no, then you know you need to change something, because you have to have a system to run on. And there we go. The saying at the bottom there just says, the more successful duplication is, the more depth is created. Someone signing up is exciting. I remember my first sign up. Oh my goodness, I was so excited about her. She was a racehorse. I was excited about that. In fact, I remember her name. Her name was Tracy. And I have never been so excited. She was on it. She was on the groups. She was trying to create her own system and her own approach. And at that time, I was really, really excited about it because I'm like, this is amazing. I don't know what I'm doing, but she looks exciting and rearing to go. And believe it or not, 3 months later, nothing from her anymore because she didn't believe this worked. Because again, I didn't have a system in place for her to follow. And so it was all messed up. But what I should have remembered then is, as excited I was about her, I shouldn't have got excited until I created grandbabies. So I always say to my new team, you know, when you get that first recruit, amazing, amazing, exciting, help her recruit somebody else, get your grandchildren, and that becomes exciting because that's when you can start to see duplication happening in your business. Right. Then we're going on to that third one, which is give it enough time. Guys, this is not a get-rich-quick scheme. We say this all the time in the beginning. One of the hardest things for me when I started was the people that I looked up to. The Samantha Pierce, the Emma Cooper, the Tina Gillis, oh my goodness, the Lisa Hancocks, all of those people from the UK. They all started their businesses around the same time. And it seemed to take them all 2 years to get to soaring and sapphire managers. So for me, I was like, this is obviously what I need. In 2 years, I'm going to be a sapphire manager. This is amazing. And so in 2 years' time, when I didn't get there, it was the biggest blow to me because I'm like, but why can't I'm doing what they're doing? Why hasn't this worked for me? Again, another fog starting to come down, but it's working for them. How did they do it so quickly? I didn't get to do that. Now, there's a couple of reasons for this. I maybe didn't have as much time available, or I certainly didn't put as much work into it as they did. But there are so many things that surround you. You cannot compare yourself to other people. And you have no idea what's actually happening in their businesses. When the UK market crashed, my first Eagle Manager that I went on was a trip around Rome, Monte Carlo, Barcelona. All of those people that I looked up to, none of them had hit Eagle Manager. Because again, for a lot of them, they had built businesses in a boom in the UK. They had done what I did and just went racehorse. And they will all tell you this themselves as well, guys. They have now, so for those who have stuck to it, for those who have rebuilt since the crash, their businesses are better than ever before because they've realized that they have to do that brick by brick layer. But their businesses crashed and they had to start all over again. And it's because of how quickly things happened. So what I want to say to you is, I'm not saying it's not possible to grow a business as quickly as you want to. You're going to have to put the work in, but be patient. Because if you come into this and you say, I'm going to get chairman's bonus in my first year, people have done that. When you don't hit that, it can be really, really hard on you, and you will think that you're not, that this is failing you, that you can't work this business. That's not true. You need to be realistic. You need to set yourself realistic expectations based around your current lives and how much time you've got available and everything that's happening in the world. And you have to be patient. Be that pack horse. Don't think that you're going to run into this. Think this is my 5-year plan. And if I can get that in 5 years, my goodness, my life is going to be so different. So not only do you have to think about giving it enough time, like a 5-year plan rather than a 1-year plan, you also have to be able to give it enough time every single day and every single week. Where are my notes on this one? So settle in, because when your business grows more slowly than anticipated, you think it's not going to work. Right, now this is one, and this again hits such a head for me when I read this book, and I really, really hope this helps you guys. It talks about pilots and measuring your time like pilots. So when a pilot gets upgraded, or he gets his new wings for a different plane or whatever it might be, It's not based on how much he wants it, or it's not based on how high his score is in a test. Yes, they do have to do tests, which they need to pass. It's based on how much flight time they've had, whether that's been in a simulator, in different airplanes, whatever it is, it's flight time. And it says in here, in network marketing, there is only one thing that counts as hours logged or flight time: showing your business presentation to someone. Period. That is it. This is not this is a person-to-person, face-to-face business. If we're not getting the business presentation in front of people, we're not logging our flight time. So just have a think about that for a minute. Our business presentations are our flight time. So now I want you to ask yourself another question. If you think your business is failing and you're not working it, how many hours have you logged? How many flight hours have you guys logged in your business? And there's no point in being disheartened or dismayed or thinking that this business doesn't work for you if your flight time is 1 to 2 hours. That's 1 to 2 business presentations. And I loved the thought of that, because it wasn't about how many people say yes. It wasn't about how many people say no. It was simply about how many people we show the opportunity to. Those are our hours. That's our flight time logged. So how many hours of flight time have you logged in your business? And just think about that, and be honest with yourself as well. Right, so that was that one. So then we go into a little bit of a checklist for reality. So before I go into this, I just want to read to you about a little bit of a checklist for reality now. So the 3 principles of network marketing: consistent effort, duplication, and giving it enough time. Are you giving consistent effort to your business? So that's every single day. Are you opening your business? Or is your effort sporadic and catch as you can? So are you someone who maybe has an amazing hour one day and then you do nothing the next? And then maybe you'll have 10 minutes great next day and then nothing the next. So which one are you out of those? Are you seeing duplication in your business? Do you know what duplication is in network marketing? Do you see why it is of paramount importance? Do you know how to create and sustain duplication? And finally, do you have realistic expectations? Have you logged many hours of flight time? How many hours have you logged? What is keeping you or stopping you from logging more hours? Is it time, skill, fear, stalling, or something else? If you think this opportunity is real, what is keeping you from taking advantage of it to the best of your ability? And they're great questions to ask yourself, guys. So there's your checklist for reality. Success is no accident. There are so many people who fail in network marketing. We say this from the beginning as well. Not everybody succeeds in network marketing. So why do some succeed while others don't? And there are 4 ingredients for success. So the first one is determining what it is that you actually want. The second one is deciding what you're willing to reschedule or give up in order to get what you want. The third one is associating with people who will help you get what you want. And the last one is have a plan that works and works your plan. So if we take a look at that first one, determine what you want. When I started my business, the thing that I didn't actually have a why. I didn't have a key reason for building it other than to prove my husband wrong. And I'm a bit stubborn. But thank goodness I'm stubborn, because that's what kept me going. But through all the difficulties that you face in your business, that wouldn't have been enough for me. My why is very, very different now. Do you know, my why is totally my children. The need to be able to support myself and them because there isn't another income coming in. it's incredibly strong, and it's the reason why I will never ever quit this business, no matter how much fog envelops me at certain times. But without that why, when it gets hard, it's too easy to just say, I don't want to do this. We haven't invested loads of money in this business. It's not like you've borrowed loads of money from a bank that you have to pay back in 5 years' time. So if you don't have a why, a reason for doing this, it's going to be too easy one day to just say, well, oh, well, that was fun while it lasted. I've got some great products and I'm going to keep getting the discount. So this is your life. This is your future. You are the only person who can answer this question. You have to be absolutely clear about what you want before you decide what you're going to put into it. Goals create focus, energy, and passion. And there's loads. It's not just about this business, guys. In anything that you do in life, it could be that you're on a weight loss journey. It could be that you're wanting to start a new hobby, like playing the piano. It could be that you want to get into CrossFit and do your first pull-up. Whatever it might be, it is so easy when it gets hard to just say, well, I'm giving up. This isn't for me. Unless you know why it is so, so, so important for you. So this is actually something I learned from Gemma Easton, and it really, really helped me find my why. And I remember when she first did this, I actually got a bit annoyed at her because I'm like, why do you keep asking the same question? And there would be people in floods of tears who had figured out their why. And if I'm honest, I would roll my eyes and think, oh my goodness, what is wrong with these people? They're so teary. And this was just me at the time. And I realize now it's because I hadn't found my why. And I remember it so clearly. I don't know what it was. There was just one night I couldn't go to sleep because it was annoying me that I obviously didn't have my why. And I was working my business. Well, I was working it to make money. And then her next question was, okay, well, why is money important to you? What do you mean, why is money important to me? Why would money not be important to me? So, okay, so why is money important to me? Because, well, I guess I wanted to be able to pay for Izzy and Holly to do all the things that they wanted to do after school. Well, why is that important to you? And then I'd finally answer that question. Okay, but why is that important to you? And this question of why is that one important to you, and why, and every answer you'd get, the next, well, why is that important to you? And it would drive me crazy. But eventually I got to the sticking point of like the real reason why I was working my business. And if you take a screenshot of the slide, guys, try it for yourselves. It could be a lot harder for some of you, like it was for me, than others. But you keep asking yourself 10 times, well, why is that important to me? Well, why is that important to me? And it was only when I realized, I'd never, it's almost like trying to break through a shell as to figuring out what it is. I didn't realize at the time that I actually felt like a complete failure in the eyes of my children. Obviously, I wasn't, they were very young. But I realized I want to teach them to be brave and strong, to never give up on anything that they try, to try their hardest, that they will get anything that they want out of life. And there I was with no career. I wasn't earning any money. I had no ambition. I had no drive. And yet I wanted to teach my daughters to have the opposite of everything that I was showing them. And I suddenly realized that that was my why. I needed to be the role model to my children. I wanted to be the one to say, look what mommy did. You can do anything in life because I've done it, and not pointing to somebody else. And suddenly, if you take my first why, well, because I want to make money, yeah, you can give that up tomorrow. You could maybe go and make money somewhere else. You could try something else. But when I realized that my why was that, there is nothing in this world that would stop me from making that a reality for my children. And that's the difference between having a reason and your why. So try as much as possible to find your why as quickly as you can, because without your why on earth are you going to put the work into this business that we need to put in to create big success? Right, it's telling me to read page 32. Where do I want to go? Okay, it just says here, dreams create hope, goals create focus, and focus creates fuel that propels us to action. Why did you get involved with network marketing? Where do you want it to take you? What do you want out of it? And what are you willing to do to make what you want become reality? And I think that's the biggest part for me, is what are you willing to do to make your why become reality? Right. I get goosebumps when I think of this. Okay. So then you need to think about what you're willing to reschedule or give up in order to get what you want. Because again, I mentioned this before, we don't all have time. We don't have spare time in our day that we can work this business. We have to create time. So you have to now figure out what it is that you are willing to reschedule or give up. Are you willing to give up your TV time? Are you willing to give up the gym? Because that's something that I had to consider in the beginning. You know, when I was building my business this much and I didn't have much time, it was like, oh, but actually, do I really, like, what's more important to me at the time? Things are going to be more important to you at different times, but what was more important to me at that time? What do I need to give up? And so I literally, every single spare minute I had between my girls was my business. And that was because my why was strong enough, and I needed it to be that. So be clear about what you want out of your business before you're going to decide what you're going to put into it. Knowing why we do this business is more important than, I hope that you guys can see this, by the way. I should have probably just done this. Then why we're doing it. Oh no, then how we do it. Sorry, knowing why you're doing it is more important than how we do it. Yes, I've read that part too. Sorry, I'm just checking my notes. So much to say to you guys. Okay, then finally, it's associating with the people who are going to help you get what you want. So you need to choose who you hang out with. COVID has been a huge eye-opener for me. I don't know about you guys. Just in terms of, my life was so busy before. I constantly felt like I needed to go out and be seeing people, and I was socializing nonstop. But COVID's made me realize that most people, as much as you are really great friends, it's not that they don't care about you. But when big things are happening in your life, maybe you lose your job, or something happens, do you know what? They might have a conversation over dinner. You're not going to believe this. Claire's going through a divorce. Like, how is she going to manage with the kids? That conversation is going to last maybe 10 minutes, and then they'll move on to something else. And I'll tell you what, if one of them has lost a job, my situation might not even get mentioned. And these could be my closest friends. In fact, even my family. And it's so true. Do you know, everybody is going through something different in their lives at the moment. They're not going to think about you as much. So the question is when they come and say to you, are you mad? What are you doing building a business like this? This is never going to work for you. Here's the question is, why are you going to listen to somebody like that when they're not the person who's going to pay your bill at the end of the month, or spend much more than 5 minutes wondering about how you're going to pay for it? I think that might have actually come from the book. It's a very harsh way of looking at it, but it's very, very true. So, you know, why do you want to listen to those people who are telling you it's not going to work, who are going to say that you're mad, who are constantly negative? You know when you walk into a room full of people and there's that one negative Nancy who just brings the whole mood down. You don't want to be hanging out with those people. You want to hang out with people who will motivate you and lift you up. And again, guys, this is where Dream Team comes into it. And I often say to people, in fact, it's one of my bonuses about this business, is when people come and meet the team, I often say this: we're not some kind of crazy cult or anything like that. We just all happen to be really positive about life, about business, about future, about everything like that. And that makes it an incredibly passionate and exciting community to be part of. If it wasn't for the people in this business who I've surrounded myself with you guys, with the managers in this business, with the team in this business, with the people, the books that I've surrounded myself with because of this business, this last year of my life could possibly have been incredibly different. When life turns to the lowest it can possibly be, but you have all this positivity around you, it's really hard not to be positive. And it's one of the greatest things, I think, about network marketing and working in this kind of environment and the kind of team is these people lift you up. We lift you up. We will motivate you. We will inspire you. We will never tell you you cannot do something, because it's not something that's in our vocabulary, because we've been taught to take it away from our vocabulary. So you want to choose who you hang out with. Page 36. Oh, I love this one. So you want to associate with others who are clearly focused, highly motivated, are going to keep you going when your will is weak and your vision is dim, your mind is weary and your heart is tired, because that will happen. So there's this song called Mama Said There Would Be Days Like This. So in growing any business, not just network marketing, there are going to be times when you question your sanity while waiting for this thing to take off. By the way, that question comes up often. Others question your sanity for waiting so long and working so hard. You doubt if you have the stamina and the skill to see the job through. You doubt that you will ever figure out the secret of creating wealth in network marketing. You doubt those who tell you the secret is to keep it simple and not quit. Exhaustion nips at your enthusiasm. Fear tempts you to avoid discomfort, even if it costs you your future. Naysayers erode your confidence in the company, compensation, or yourself. And reps or prospects not showing up for meetings, or joining and not doing anything, or not even buying a product, or joining and being excited and then disappearing, or I've even had one who joins on the spot so excited and then doesn't even return my messages or phone calls. It happens. Makes you want to quit showing up too. I will bet you that everyone listening in here tonight, unless you've just joined today, will understand almost every single one of those points. So when that is happening in your life, who do we need to turn to, and who do you think are the right people that you want to surround yourself with? And those are people who have felt all of these things as well and gotten through the other side. Because then they empathize, but they don't sympathize. They will tell you that you can do it and you can keep going, and that the fog will lift. Right, so then this is coming to the end, guys. I don't know how long I've been speaking. I'm so sorry. Have a plan that works. Work your plan. We can talk about our yearly goals. We can talk about our 3-month goals, our month goals, but unless you actually have a plan for those goals, you're not going to get there. So that's when it comes vital into having some kind of plan for your business that works for you. Most recently, I've started with the balloon plan, which will be in training. So if you don't know what I'm talking about with the balloon, have a look. But it's simply stating, right, it's a monthly plan. This is my plan for this month. This is how many of these I need to do, how many of these I need to do. I'm going to break that down into my day plan. Great, I've got an hour to work my business every single day. What do I need to do in that hour? And if you don't have a plan that works for you, this business will not work. So make sure you have a plan that works. And then make sure you work your plan. Because again, it can sit on your whiteboard behind you and look pretty and not do anything with it. That's not going to build your business either. Okay, guys, this is the last slide. So always, always remember 3 principles. Consistent effort, duplication, give it enough time. This is a business. It's not a get-rich-quick scheme. We are in it for the long haul. They remind us to work steadily, replicate our efforts, and to be patient. Stop fighting reality. Accept it and just stay on task. This is a marathon. It's not a sprint. That is why a pack horse is better than a racehorse. Success in network marketing is more about tenacity than talent. No matter what, don't quit. Wealth comes from depth. Depth comes from duplication. Duplication comes from having a system. Keep the system simple. Wealth is not accidental. I hope I'm reading the last words right, by the way, because my screen's cut off. Measure your time in business like a pilot, your hours logged. The ones who show the most business presentations win. Be your own worst boss. So, we don't have a boss. Nobody's going to tell you what to do. So be your own worst boss. Wake up in the morning and you say, if you don't get this done, you're fired. You're the only person who can tell yourself to do that. And associate with positive, like-minded people. That brings us to the end, guys. I hope you took something away from it. I will put the recording up in Dream Team. I would love to hear one thing, just one thing that you took away from tonight. We all go through it. We've all been there. It's not a rainbows and clouds. Oh my goodness, I'm suddenly a success type of business. But absolutely anybody can make this business work. But these are some of the things you need to remember. And guys, read books. Not just this one. I mean, I've got a whole library behind here. When you start to doubt anything, read from the people, the network marketers who have created a huge success. Everything I've said to you tonight is not me. I've given you examples of my business. I've only been in business 5 years. I am a baby. These guys who write all these books, they are the pros. So read, learn from them. I promise you, it helps to know that you're not alone in this business. So good night, guys, and I hope that helped loads.